today, and let me give a very brief intro of her. Sushree Diwakari Devi Ji studied the deepest philosophy of the Hindu scriptures and devotional music of India under the guidance of Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj and received Vaishnav sanyas in the year 1996. Since then, she has been providing inspiring satsangs throughout the US and other countries such as New Zealand, Ireland, etc. Devi Ji's charming and uplifting speeches awaken the mind and stir the soul, while her Nam Sankirtan enters deep in the hearts of listeners, inspiring them with devotion love for Radha Krishna. I request all of you to please listen to her discourses very attentively, and please switch off your cell phones or put them in silence mode. Also, we are broadcasting this lecture live, so please don't get up in the middle and block the camera or anything. Now, as a token of our respect, I request Aditi Bakshi to offer a garland to Devi Ji.
श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की, लाडली लाल की। ध्यानमूलम् गुरोर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलम् गुरोर्पदम् मन्त्रमूलम् गुरोर्वाक्यम् भक्तिमूलम् गुरोर्कृपा वन्दे वृन्दावना नन्दा राधिका परमेश्वरी गोपिका परमां शुद्धा ह्लादिनी शक्तिरूपिणी नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुद्धया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति यो ब्रह्माणं vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tagvang hadevamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapatye. Shri Radhe Radhe Govind Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Govind Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Radhe
Respected devotees of Sri Maharaj Ji, Radhe Radhe. Respected viewers, Radhe Radhe. Starting this evening and over the next few days, with the grace of Sri Maharaj Ji, I will attempt to elaborate on a pad, one of the 1008 divine compositions of Sri Maharaj Ji from Prem Ras Madira, from Dainya Madhuri. मोहितो भरोसो हैं तिहारो री किशोरी राधे. श्री राधा अवतार गौरांग महाप्रभु जी, श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी enlightens us with his divine teachings known as the Ashtapadi or Shikshashtak. Mahaprabhu Ji describes the qualities an aspiring devotee has to develop to qualify for God's love. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniyah sada harihi. तृण से अधिक नम्र गोविंद राधे, तरु से अधिक सहिष्णु बना दे, सबको दू सम्मान गोविंद राधे, आप मान चाहूं नहीं ऐसी बना दे. Radha Govind Geet. So what are those four qualities? First, humility. One should be humbler than a blade of grass. When we crush grass under our feet, it never protests. A devotee Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji says, should be more tolerant and forgiving than a tree. A tree, when plundered, cut into pieces, it never protests. It tolerates our ingratitude and reciprocates with shade, flowers, fruits. A devotee should not entertain the habit of seeking fame and personal compliments, but rather have due respect for others. Perceive the presence of God within every individual helps us to practice this ideal. On the whole, humility is the foundation of all virtues. Sri Maharaj Ji has given a broader perspective on this essential teaching of Mahaprabhuji. In the words of Sri Maharaj Ji, if you wish to be truly great, then be humble and polite. This is the fundamental spiritual principle. Until you curb your pride and put yourself in the position of the lowest of the lowly, you cannot progress spiritually. What do you have that inflates your ego so? If you claim that you are a millionaire or billionaire and the owner of so-and-so industries, or a pioneer in real estate possessing so many abundance of properties, why do you suppose you've hoarded all of this? Why? Don't you know that you will have to leave this world one day? Muthi bandhe aaya tha tu Govind Radhe, haath pasare jaye मन को बता दे, गर्भ से न लाया कछु गोविंद राधे, संग भी न जाए कछु मन को बता दे. And when you leave, you will leave alone and empty-handed. You will not take a single penny with you. The god of death will present himself before you, and he will pay no attention whatsoever to your moaning, groaning, or your screamings. What? I have to leave alone? What about my big house and my properties and my big balance? What about all of this stuff that I have, that I own? Say what you will, but there will be no one to listen to your pleas. Absolutely no one. Because there's nothing in this world that you own and nothing belongs to you. When your appointed time to leave this world will come, you will have to leave alone just as you entered. Once the god of death came to a person and says, "Let's go, it's your day." So the guy said, "Well, I'm not ready." So he said, "Well, whatever, but you have to go." So he said, "You know what? Let's just come on in. And why don't you I'll give you something to eat." So God of Death said, "All right." So he gave him something to eat. And in the food, he put sleeping pills. So God of Death, he fell asleep, went into a slumber. And so in the meantime, the guy, he took his name from the list and put it last, at the bottom. So when the god of death woke up and he said, "You've been so kind to me. You've been so nice. You know what? I'll start from the bottom." So when your time to leave this world will come, you will have to leave. What makes you so proud of your beauty and your youthfulness? Has your obsession made you forget that all of this will vanish one day in the twinkling of an eye? Yes. One day you will lie on the funeral pyre and be reduced to a tiny little small pile of ash. You may well be strong today with tremendous physical strength, puffing about your pride as you strut about, showing your physical body and your muscular physique. But what does all of this get you in the end? What? Have you forgotten? Did you ever imagine what will happen to you in old age? What will happen? Have you forgotten that aging is inevitable and that with the passage of time, your strength will gradually diminish? And finally, in your senior years, you will need the help of a cane or crutches or even a walker to move about. So, come down to calm down. Throw away all this vanity and become humble and polite. It costs nothing and will make you, as well as those you meet, happy. Never consider anyone, any fellow being inferior to you. Give respect to all, for God resides in every individual. Always remember this and cry out to the Lord in all humility. Shed tears of love and longing. This is the shortest route to reach God. And when you will shun your pride, you will shed tears of love and longing. That is what you will do. So increase your longing for the Lord, and call out to Him in such a way that the world would seem desolate without Him. It's like a fish out of water. And when you will plaintively call out to Him in a spirit of full submission and humility, the Lord will come running to you without delay. This is the reward of humility. The scriptures and saints tell us that in order to become eligible to receive the grace of God, we have to purify our heart. We have to purify our mind. That is what we have to do. In fact, the goal of all spiritual practice is that we prepare our receptacle, our heart and mind. But how do we practically do this? So Sri Maharaji tells us that the quickest way to purify our mind is by exposing it to adverse situations. When someone criticizes us, we should take that to be consider that to be a golden opportunity to test our forbearance and humility. By not giving vent to anger, we should not allow our mind to become inflamed. And by realizing and understanding that every fault lies within us. And that by bringing a fault to our attention, our criticizer is in fact our well-wisher in disguise. By retaining this understanding, what will happen? We will remain calm, in fact, even grateful. But any amount of retaliation will destroy any semblance of love, any semblance of devotion we had in our heart. There's a well-known story of Saint Eknath, who came out of river Narmada after a holy bath, where a person was standing, a mischievous man was standing. Full of pent-up anger, this man gargled something in his mouth and he spat it all over Saint Eknath. You just had a sacred bath to purify yourself, so I had better dirty you again, is what the man said. But instead of retaliating, Saint Eknath, he joyfully exclaimed, "Oh, merciful Lord, you are so great. You are so kind." And so he went back into the Narmada to have another bath. Unmoved by the saint's antics, the man was waiting there again. And as soon as Saint Eknath came out of the river, he spat on him again. And once again, Saint Eknath said, "Oh my Lord, you have really outdone your mercy today. You really have." So he went back into the river to take another bath, and the same thing happened. The men spat on him again. And this went on from morning till evening. It went on from morning till evening. A crowd soon gathered to see who would concede defeat. In the end, it was the man. It was the man. And the man said to Saint Eknath, "Are you made of stone? I spat on you without good reason, and you did not utter a single word in complaint." So Saint Eknath responded, and he said, "But you are my benefactor. It is because of you that I had this opportunity to take so many holy dips in Narmada. Why should I curse you? Why?" So what is purification? Tolerance. Tolerance. Where there is a reason for attachment, but we do not get attached. Where there is a reason for hatred, but we do not hate. Where there is a reason for anger, but we do not get angry. Where there is a reason to be envious, but we don't become envious. Where there's a reason to be proud, but we do not become proud. That is the purified state. And even though criticism is both positive and negative, it is the negative that elevates us internally. Mohito Bharoso hai Tiharo ri Kishori Radhey. Oh Radhey, you are my only hope. You are my only refuge. एक भरोसो, एक बल, एक आस, विश्वास. Oh my sweet Radhe, you are my faith. And you are my confidence. You are my hope. And you are my strength. I know only you. And except for you, I know nothing else. All of Sri Maharaj's compositions are a conversation between us, the aspiring soul, and God. Years ago, one of Sri Maharaj's satsangis, Shakuntala ji, she told me that when we do our sadhana, जब हम अपनी साधना करते हैं तो हमें उनसे बात करनी है. We should talk to Radha Krishna. That is what she said. And it really stuck with me. So, Mohito Bharoso hai Tiharo ri Kishori Radhey. We are talking to Radha Rani. That is what we're doing. That is the essence of sadhana. We talk. O Radhe, the refuge of your divine mercy is my only hope. What else could it be except your love? If I utter your name, if I feel love for you, if I yearn for you for even a fraction of a second in this polluted life of mine, love and mercy are your very nature, while my nature is aversion to your grace, aversion of countless lives. Oh, Kishori Ji, even the desire to remember your name is nothing but your grace. Oh, Swamini, when I look upon myself, I feel gravely ashamed. I become remorsefully speechless, for I know that your love is not the outcome of any amount of good deeds, spiritual practice, or strength. No strength can qualify for your No strength can qualify your love, for it is eternal. It is eternal. Aversion to your grace and forgetfulness has become the cause of my misery and my suffering. Why did I forget my beloved Shama Sham? Aversion to your grace, life after life, has blinded me to your mercy. In all honesty, O my Radhe, as I utter your name, I am eagerly desirous to touch the dust that caresses your lotus feet. It is only your grace, O my Radharani, that your divine name even resonates with my heart. There remains only one hope in the bleak life of the servant. O Kishori Ji, please spark the life of the vigor of your divine name in my existence. Day and night I wish to remember your divine name in hopes that one day my Swamini will call out to me in such a way that the forgetfulness of innumerable lifetimes will be forgotten forever. तेरी कृपा शक्ति को भरोसो बड़ो श्यामा, कभू कृपा होगी दोगी प्रेम निष्कामा. While remembering your divine name, O my Radhe, I live in hope that one day you will bless me too and grace me with your divine love. O Radhe, it is I who forgot that I belong to you, but you never forgot me. Your grace is the only solace of my life. Radharani is personified grace. She is made of grace inside as well as outside. She has no other work to perform except bestow grace. Kripa karu, kripa karu, kripa karu Radhe, kripa kahi tanu tora, kripa karu Radhe, kripa kahi tanu tora, kripa karu Radhe, kripa karu Radhe. Just as a deity is made of one single element, it could be wood, iron, stone, terracotta, stone, gold, silver. Only one material is used in the making of a deity. It is consistently throughout the entire deity. In other words, that material, it permeates the entire deity. Whether it's the eyes, any part, the one material, if it's made of stone, then it is. Stone is consistent throughout the deity. However, our body, the human body, it consists of the material elements, earth, water, air, fire, and space, and the divine soul. But just as a deity is made of that one material, one element, Radha Rani's divine personality is nothing but grace. Her external divine body, every pore of her being is personified grace, inside and outside. She is the absolute embodiment of Sat, eternal life, Chit, perfect knowledge, and Anand, perfect bliss. In contrast, our body is functional for as long as the soul is within. And when the soul departs, we turn death, and our body immediately begins to decompose. So what happens? It is either cremated or buried. That is what happens to our body. But in the case of Radharani, every aspect of her personality, it is her nature. Grace is her nature. There's a beautiful Leela depicting this gracious nature, personality of Radharani. Once Radharani was late reaching Seva Kunj for Ras, unable to suppress restlessness and overpowered by deep longing for her, for Radharani, Shri Krishna began to cry. So when Radharani finally reached Seva Kunj, seeing Shyam Sundar in mournful and sober thoughtfulness, she inquired of Lalita Sakhi and asked, Lalita Sakhi, what is the matter with this Maharaj? What is up with that despairing and gloomy face? So Lalita Sakhi, she narrated the whole incident. So Radharani smilingly, she put her hand on Sri Krishna's chin. And when she did that, she had some dal and rice on her hand, and it got on Sri Krishna's chin. So Sri Krishna said that, oh Radharani, this is not fair. First of all, you come late. And now you put dal and rice on my face. Are you alluring the gopis to tease me? So Radharani, with a smile, said to Lalita Sakhi, Lalita, tell me one thing. All of these Babas who are in Braj Dham and these worshippers, they have renounced the comforts of their homes and they are living in Braj Dham. Who do you think is the cause of that? So Lalita said, it's your Shyam Sundar. It's him. So Radha Rani said that then in that case, don't you think that he should be mindful of their welfare, given the fact that they have renounced the comforts of their homes to come live in Braj Dham, to drink the nectar of his divine name? Today it rained so heavily in Vrindaban that so many Babas could not even go out to beg for madhukari, to beg for alms. It so happened that I passed them as I was on my way to Seva Kunj. So I quickly prepared dal and rice for them, saying that my mother has sent this for you because you could not go out today to beg for madhukari. And I served them with my own hand. Served them with my own hand, and that is the reason I was delayed in coming to Seva Kunj. And because I was rushing, I did not have time to wash my hands, and hence the dal and rice in my hand. So hearing these solemn words from the lotus lips of Sri Radha Rani, Sri Krishna fell at her feet and started to shed tears and said, "O Radha Rani, to inspire sentiments of inner detachment whereby they would leave their homes to come and live in this abode in Vrindavan, that is what I do. But you shower and nurture love, respect, affection, protection, by giving them the shelter of your divine lap. By giving them the shelter of your divine lap. And again, consoling them and restoring their confidence that grace will happen. Grace will happen. It will happen. It will happen. For I am yours. I am with you. Radha Rani is personified grace. However, let us not forget that Sri Radha Krishna are one divine power in two forms. Yun to Radha Krishna Govind Radhe एक थे है रहेंगे भी बता दे किंतु लीलाहित गोविंद राधे दो थे है रहेंगे भी बता दे. Even though Sri Radha Krishna, one single divine power, they're one. They're not separate. They're one divine power. But for the sake of rejoicing us and their divine associates and us souls with Leelas, they assume two forms. Two forms. So Radha Rani is grace. And what is the nature of grace? Grace favors. It favors without expecting anything in return. Just as a mother serves her newborn child in every possible way. She talks to the child, she nurtures the child, does everything for the child. In fact, the child is incapable of doing anything on its own. On its own. Thus, whatever the mother does can be termed as grace. However, this is not grace at all. Nonetheless, this example does serve to a certain extent. Truly speaking, grace is selfless and causeless. In the world, this is difficult to comprehend because anything and everything that we do has a selfish motive or an expectation. The mother in this example, she derives happiness and satisfaction by serving her child. Inherently, the mother expects that when she grows old, that her child will be there to take care of her. So sometimes the motive is not apparent. It is hidden. Eventually, we as individuals, we look out for our own personal happiness by any and every action that we take. Why? Because we have not experienced that happiness, that true, real happiness. We haven't experienced it. So until we do, we can only think of our own satisfaction. That's all. So until we receive that level of happiness which is infinite and unlimited, and then beyond that, after receiving that, we would not need anything further. So only those who have that experienced that unlimited, infinite happiness can only serve selflessly and unconditionally. So only saints and God can serve us selflessly and unconditionally. When we speak of God and saints conferring grace upon us, we refer to all of those favors in regard to material accomplishments, such as winning lottery, being blessed with a son, begging a lucrative job, qualifying for an exam, whatever. But will all of these things elevate us, or will they entangle us further in the world? Shri Krishna in the Gita has said, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyah. Shri Krishna says that I look upon all living beings equally. None are less dear to me and are more dear, and none are more dear. I impart justice to all. I bestow fruits of actions, whether good or bad, to all living beings impartially, be they humans, celestials, demons, emperors, or beggars. My law applies to one and all equally. In the second line of this verse, Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Shri Krishna says, however, I make one exception. I make one exception. Those who worship me with love, they live in me. Upon them I bestow my grace, my divine grace. So Shri Krishna goes beyond justice. and graces the individual who loves him in many ways. What are those ways? Firstly, the soul upon whom I bestow my grace, says Sri Krishna, that soul becomes God realized. The moment the soul surrenders to me, I free him from the bondage of Maya. Secondly, his tendencies of anger, greed, desire, lust, etc., they vanish instantly and altogether. Thirdly, I award him freedom from the 5 sheaths of Maya, 5 afflictions of Maya. I award him freedom from his attachment, worldly attachment, and to people and objects, his aversion toward worldly people and objects, his false sense of ego, and his false identification of the self. In addition, he receives freedom from the 3 bodily disorders, 3 actions. Also, those of one's past actions, those of a portion of one's past actions awarded or given to him as his destiny. And then those actions of his current life due to the exercise of free will, kriyaman karma. First, prarabdha karma, kriyaman karma, and sanchit karma, the infinite stock of his actions performed over the course of unlimited lifetimes that have not been awarded yet. And fourthly, I grant him my true divine knowledge, my divine love. I grant him and everything to the soul who surrenders to me. So, grace is associated with the soul. A mother can take care of her child's body, not the soul. Gracing means divinizing the mind, the intellect, the senses, and bestowing, granting that soul the eternal treasure of divine love. That is the true meaning of grace. शरणागत हाथ बीके श्याम अरु श्यामा औरों की लिखा पढ़ी करे उर धामा. Shama Sham Geet. Sri Radha Krishna are bound due to their causelessly merciful nature. They are bound to the souls who surrender to them. However, for the rest, they simply act as a judge. They keep an account of their actions. जो मन बुद्धि दे के भजे आठु यामा वाकी संहार करे Shishu Janu Shama. Just like a mother who takes care of her newborn child, so the soul who submissively submits their heart and mind in a spirit of surrender to Shyama Radharani, then just like a mother, Radharani takes responsibility. She nurtures that soul just like a mother nurtures her own child. Bhakto ka yogakshem vahan kari Shama, पापियों का पाप लिखे उर बैठी धामा. So those who surrender to Radharani, she takes their full responsibility, gives them whatever they don't have, and protects whatever they do have. But for those who are just doers of their actions and feel no love, they have no love, there's no surrender toward God, for them, God, Radharani, just she is a judge only and dispenses the results of their actions accordingly. So mohito bharoso hai Tiharo re Kishori Radhey. Oh Kishori Radhey, you are my faith. You are my hope, my refuge, my confidence. Shrimat Sadguru Sarkar ki, Ladli Lal ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.